Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons commentary and what it takes to last. I actually, part of the prep that I do for this show is I stay current on people who are doing D&D commentary, who are commentating on Dungeons & Dragons. So that means I have my own channels that I watch, and that also means that I very carefully try to watch new shows, right? And try to have a breadth of the shows that I'm watching. And I recently came across these guys who were like, hey, good. And it was really wild because I found this new Dungeons & Dragons channel, and it says, goodbye after 4 years, right? And it's these three people, right? And just three people who are D&D commentators and have been doing Dungeons & Dragons subclass commentary for 4 years, and now they're wrapping it. They're like, we're done, right? And the last show is an incredibly heartfelt, sad goodbye video, and I'm finding them with this video. And boy, is that bittersweet. You're like, oh, well, I just found these people, and now they're done, right? They're literally finished, and they're not going to do anymore. And that's really fascinating, right? Because I'm like, whoa, that's a little bit alarming, And it really made me reflect, because I'm coming up on 9 years of doing Dungeons & Dragons commentary on YouTube specifically, right? And I can tell you it's been a journey, and I have over 4,500 videos on Dungeons & Dragons. And I'll tell you right now, on doing Dungeons & Dragons commentary, right? And I'll tell you right now, I think without a doubt, I am the most prolific single contributor to do D&D commentary. I don't think there's anyone in the world who has done more Dungeons & Dragons commentary anywhere, period, end of sentence, right? I feel like, when it comes to D&D commentary, I am the number one, right, as far as quantity, right? No one has done more videos than me on Dungeons & Dragons from the perspective of commentary. If you think I'm wrong, I defy you to send me a link to a single person who's done more on D&D than me. I'd love to see it. I don't think you're going to find it, right? And that's unique because I've chosen a specific path on how I choose to do my D&D commentary, and frankly, from a quantity perspective, it's unbeatable. I don't think anybody has a better model, right? But one of the other things, though, is why are they quitting? Well, one, I think without a doubt, I can feel it. I don't know if you know, but this is one of the most pivotal years in Dungeons & Dragons history, bar none. And this year broke a lot of people. It just flat out broke people. No two ways about it. Just broke them, right? And actually, you'll find Ginny D talking about the mental health cost of this year of covering Dungeons & Dragons. Bob Builder, World Builder, talked about it. No Nat 1 talked directly about it. Professor Dungeon Master talked directly about it. Dungeon Dudes talked directly about it. And then a year and a half ago, the WebDM guys, when their guys was just like, I'm out, quit, and so, what does it take to persist in D&D commentary? And I'll tell you right now, there are going to be really brutal years for Dungeons & Dragons where everyone hates Dungeons & Dragons, and the love for Dungeons & Dragons is going to wane, right? And it will be a year or two before it restores, right? And at that point, you have to be a stalwart. You have to be a D&D ally, right? You can't be a bandwagoner, right? There's a lot of bandwagoners that went over to Tales of the Valiant, and now that game has been utterly embarrassed, right? Tales of the Valiant, created by Cobble Press, who at one point were literally D&D canon authors, were utterly destroyed, virtually destroyed by the sales on progressive OSR, which is Shadow Dark, which I think it's the first progressive OSR product that's ever existed. And Kelsey Dion, with a mere thought and the whispers of her capability, was able to absolutely wreck Cobble Press, right? It's astounding the year we've been in, right? Just a lot of people who are frustrated and vexed with Hasbro, frustrated and vexed with D&D. And what it takes is you can't be a bound servant to circumstance. And I am not a bound servant to circumstance. I am ride or vie for Dungeons & Dragons, and I really love Dungeons & Dragons, and that love has carried me through, right? And And I could say I love Dungeons and Dragons because I got the receipts, right? Like, you could see Professor Dungeon Master is falling out of love right now, I'll predict his channel will fold relatively soon. And that's not hard to predict. He just begged people to stop watching him in one of his recent videos, right? Like, so it's not me saying something. He's doing everything he can to kind of, like, I think subconsciously he's trying to destroy his own channel, right? It's alarming and upsetting, right? But I just, haven't seen these guys. 3 people couldn't make it half as long as I have by myself, right? And I think, and what you need to persist in your Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, in your as a Dungeons and Dragons player and as a dungeon master, what you need to persist is love for Dungeons and Dragons, real, not a like. And that's the decision we're at now. I love Dungeons and Dragons, and that's why I'll put the link to these guys, to these people below. I beat them because my love is stronger. Every single word of that's my humble opinion. I'd love to hear your humble opinion. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.